through last week. I guess we'll bring him in from CBS Sports. He's a D-bag, but he's our D-bag, and I love him. Unfortunately, Dave Richard. Go ahead, David. Good morning.
There's nothing for me to say that you didn't already know after the game on Saturday.
No, don't do that. That's worse. That's worse when you're pulling, like, I'm Sonny Liston on the ground and you're standing over me like Ali. You pulled the punch on the way down. Like, say something terrible.
You have a poor choice in college football teams to root for? You should switch to Southern Cal immediately?
I've told you, I had no choice. I did not arbitrarily pick Florida State. That wasn't a choice. I was born into it. I had zero choice when it came to FSU. I'm stuck with them, dude.
I don't know if that's true. My parents are Cubs fans. I root for the White Sox. My dad is a Bears fan. I don't root for the Bears.
Really? You root for the White Sox and you grew up with...
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Not only that, they are my absolute guilty pleasure.
Wow.
How do you like them apples?
Interesting. Wow. I guess it's possible. That's got to be uncomfortable at the Thanksgiving dinner table.
No, not at all.
No, they don't care.
What's the conversation? Oh, the White Sox suck again this year. Yeah, they do, Dad. Pass the mashed potatoes.
Well, look, with the understanding that in our entire audience on this radio station, you and I are the only ones that care about this, I will say I was not surprised. I absolutely. I'm just kind of, if there was a bright side, it was losing to Virginia, because that made if we had been undefeated going into this game, I probably would have started believing in them, and then it would have crushed me. And I not for a moment, don't think I for a moment bought into that fourth quarter momentum. Like, I'm sitting there.
I was going to ask you.
Nope.
I was going to ask you if maybe you did.
Nope.
I was going to say, did you think you had a chance at the end?
You remember Beverly Hills Cop, right?
Of course.
I use this saying out here all the time with our Sacramento Kings, who have a habit of getting their asses beat for three quarters, and then in the fourth quarter they go on this crazy run. They cut a 30-point lead to 8. Everyone's going crazy, and then in the final 2 minutes the other team gets hot and we lose. And I call those banana in the tailpipe games. I always say I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe, and that fourth quarter was a banana in the tailpipe fourth quarter. I'm watching it with my arms crossed, going, too little, too late, screw you, I ain't falling for it.
At least you knew it, though.
Knew it.
Because there are others who did fall for it and went, oh, maybe we've got a chance.
Nope.
You knew it. You are a seasoned football fan.
Been there.
Savant, I might even say.
Wide right, wide left.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a tough life as a Seminole fan. I'm surprised you stick with it like you do. But
well, listen,
it is what it is.
I got the Kings. I got the Knolls, who, by the way, have won 2 national championships in my lifetime, but still. Up until 2010, my Giants had never won anything. I haven't seen my Niners win since 94. You know, you got to be loyal, dude. These are all, by the way, if I was single and on a dating app, these are all green flags. Loyalty.
Right. That's a good point. You're preaching to the choir on this one. I just literally admitted on the radio that I'm my guilty pleasure is White Sox baseball. There's like 300 of us out there in the world that would say something like that. There's something else you said that I would like to bring up. With banana in the tailpipe, don't you feel like that happens in fantasy football?
Yes.
A lot?
Yes.
I literally feel like we saw that in Thursday's game.
Yes.
Last week, Theo Johnson. Like, this is just the most random example. Theo Johnson had a big game, scored 2 touchdowns, looked like he would be a primary target for Jackson Dart. And then last night, he had 2 catches, 27 yards. He had a drop on a kind of a tough catch in the middle of the field. And people that might have trusted in Theo Johnson are now left with the banana in the tailpipe because he didn't give them more than 4 fantasy points. And that's if catches count.
I feel like, if you ever watch Red Zone, when Scott Hansen says the witching hour, that could also be the banana in the tailpipe hour.
It could be, right.
I want to start with somebody that's making a lot of fantasy football owners very, very happy. And, you know, he's got, as we've talked about, we are a very prideful town, Sacramento is. And when you list off Sacramento sports greats, whether it's Derek Lee, whether it's Dusty Baker, on and on and on. I shouldn't say on and on and on. Just on, not on and on. We don't have a ton. Cam Skattebo is not only did I feel like America really officially fall in love with him last night, but to do it in the Big Apple for a perennially bad team along with Jackson Dart and the rest of that squad. That was such a wonderful night for Sacramento and Rio Linda, where he's from specifically. But let's talk fantasy football value now, because I know you'll call balls and strikes on this. 3 touchdowns last night. He's been a great surprise for a lot of people who grabbed him, probably off the waiver wire, to be honest. But where are we? No, you think most people did?
No, he was drafted.
Okay.
He was drafted in a lot of leagues.
So where are we now when it comes to the running back rankings, and where does he rank? What I really want to know with other fast movers, is he moving up as fast or more than anyone? Where are we at with him?
He's definitely moving up, and that usually happens whenever you have a big game on national TV and it involves scoring 3 touchdowns. And there's no question, especially after last night, that he's going to be an important part of the Giants' offense, and that the Giants' offense isn't going to be as messy as it was in Week 5 when they turned the ball over 5 times, including Cam having the unfortunate fumble. But you saw it last night. This was Tyrone Tracy's first game back after injury, and Cam Skattebo still played 71% of the snaps, 12 of 16 snaps on third down, and all 4 of the Giants snaps inside the 5. So he's got a locked-in, big-time role in that offense. But here's the best news of all. We've seen Skattebo in games where the game script isn't so good. They're trailing, and he still comes through for fantasy managers, 14.4 PPR points in week number 5, 13 PPR points in week 4. So that's somebody who gives you kind of a safety net when it comes to fantasy football. You know that you can start him. You'll get in the neighborhood of a dozen PPR points. That might look like 6 or 7 points in a non-PPR league. But if he has a big game, Dave, Booby, it's going to be a massive one, and he helps you win. These are the types of running backs that we covet in fantasy football. Would I say he's one of the elite guys? Of course not. He's got a long way to go to earn that.
Yeah.
And I do have concerns about his running style and how that could lead to him missing time with an injury. But for now, if you've got him, play him, because he's got potential to help win your week in fantasy.
Yeah, you do worry about, and it's nothing to do with him. It's just the way he runs. You can't help but worry about, injury and concussions and all that. He really is, like I was saying earlier, he's like Bam Bam Rubble on a football field. And I was trying to think. Here's one. I'll put you on the spot because I can't. Who's a good comp? And I started, look, this is going to sound stupid. I started with Christian Okoye, but do you have a comp from the past that reminds you of Allstott maybe?
Yeah, that's the first name that came to my mind, and it might be a little too on the nose, but
yeah,
hammerhead running back who inflicts punishment on the opposing team, is a pain in the butt to take down, and can catch passes out of the backfield. He's got a little bit of Derrick Henry to him, to be perfectly honest with you. But Derrick Henry has never been the big-time pass catcher that Cam Skattebo was in college and seems to be when the game script calls for it in New York. But those are the types – you think of those hammerhead running backs. You think of the tough physical runners that are going to pound defenses. And then just the fun wrinkle with Skattebo is the receiving traits that he has.
He also, by the way, he can throw the ball. We haven't seen that yet. This kid can throw the ball.
It'll happen. You're going to see it.
All right, so we put Derrick Henry, maybe a little Christian Okoye, Mike Allstott, dare I say Lendale White. We put all them in.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
A little bit of a cauldron. All right, well, good. What about now? Let's move on to Jackson Dart. I had the pleasure of playing somebody who started Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts with Jackson Dart on the bench, and I'm watching Dart roll.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. But where are we at with? Obviously, we're not at a place where we can trust the guy, but I'm assuming he should be on everybody's roster as a backup.
We talked about that weeks ago. As soon as he was named the starter, he became somebody that was worth speculating on off the waiver wire. And there are always players. You can ask me every week who's somebody that we can speculate on, and I can give you a name. It won't always be a quarterback, but Dart was that guy after week 3 because I knew that he brought a lot of moxie, versatility, gunslinger mentality to the football field because I saw him do it at Ole Miss, saw him play in a bunch of different programs even before he got to Ole Miss. And though I thought he was rushed a little bit to get on the field, he's clearly proven to be comfortable playing in the who could end up elevating to a number 1 spot. I don't like the matchup next week against Denver. Then he plays at Philadelphia. That could be tough again. But once he's through those 2 games, Green Bay, Detroit, yeah, those could be some tough ones left on the schedule. But he finishes with Washington, Minnesota, and at Las Vegas in the fantasy playoffs. Dave, what if Jackson Dart is the quarterback that you have on your bench now and then becomes your starter to win a fantasy championship?
Ooh, man. What a great story. I said earlier, too, he's dreamy. I ain't going to lie. You can tell he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Just
I don't know. That's way too far.
You think so?
Come on.
Wait, Hall of Famer or dreamy?
Of course so. We have seen quarterbacks look great as a rookie, and then fizzle the rest of their career.
Yeah, I'm riding the train on this one though. Hall of Famer, great name too. I have a ongoing theory through the years too, Dave Richard, that you also have to have the right name. Like that for every Staubach and Roethlisberger, there are 50 Bradys, Mannings, Montanas. You know, Jonathan Flergenberger does not make the Hall of Fame as a quarterback. But if you've got, and Jackson Dart, come on, man, that's a Aaron Rodgers. They just fly off the tongue like it's a fairy tale. That's a Hall of Fame name, dude.
Dave, Fran Tarkenton?
I mean, you know, you're going to pull out Fran Tarkenton on me.
Like I mean, it's a name. He's in the Hall of Fame.
By the way,
Is that a cool name?
It's no. I put that in the Roethlisberger category. Unitas. What a great name, Unitas.
Sounds like Roethlisberger's an awesome name.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying it doesn't float off the tongue.
No, you got to practice it once or twice.
The text line, by the way, is very.
That's why we called him Big Ben.
That's right. The listeners are mad at us for not mentioning Peyton Hillis in our comparisons.
No, they're absolutely correct.
Yeah, they are 100% correct.
But hopefully Skattebo's career does not go like Peyton Hillis, where he has one great year, he's on the Madden cover, and then he's on a milk carton because no one knows where he is because his numbers stink so bad.
Still a top 5 all-time nickname for me, though, the Avalanche, because he's white and he rolls downhill. I love that. Is still to me one of the great nicknames of all time.
That is a good one.
Let's see. Got some actual fantasy football questions from the text line at 916-339-1140. Can we trust that David Njoku is going to keep his momentum this week?
No, you can't trust that. You can hope for it. He's ranked as the 13th tight end for me this week, and he'll move up a little bit if Juwan Jennings does come back for the 49ers because that'll push down expectations for Jake Tongas. But yeah, one game with the new quarterback, it's great, but I wonder if Gabriel will even throw as much as he had to throw last week in what should be a grinding, slow-paced matchup against the Steelers. And the Steelers have been known to take down tight ends pretty well. Njoku had one great game against them last year, but in the first game against them, he didn't even have 5 PPR points. So I'd be a little nervous going with Njoku.
Kendrick Bourne or Chris Godwin?
I can't trust Godwin right now, and he might not even play, Dave. He's been on the injury report, hasn't practiced, and after he looked really good, like surprisingly good in week 4, that was his first game back. Week 5, played against Seattle. He might have gotten hurt in the game. He really did not look anything like he did in his first game back.
I got a lot of questions about this guy, so I'm just going to kind of combine them. About half of the folks are wondering about Chuba Hubbard's status and matchup. The other half are wondering if even if he's playing, even if the matchup is favorable, as Rico Dowdle knocked a huge chunk out of his value.
He will if Dowdle has a big game this week against Dallas. I expect him to. I don't expect Chuba Hubbard to play at this point. And then once that happens, the Panthers should be encouraged to say, you know what, Chuba, take your time.
Right.
Rico's got it. We're good. And then when Chuba's ready to go, we will probably see one of those annoying backfield splits where running back is playing half the time and the other one's playing the other half. Yeah. You're never going to know which one to start. You'll never feel good starting either one of them. So I'm hoping that Chuba just takes his time and everybody else enjoys Rico Dowdle for as long as possible.
I was on the phone with our mutual friend Phil yesterday in the auction league I'm in, and he brought up a league I had not heard of. You've heard of every league. Are you participating or have you participated in a guillotine league?
Yes, I'm in one this year. I'm still alive in it. They are very different from typical fantasy leagues. They're fun.
That's so
they're fun unless you get eliminated early.
Just so people understand, and please correct me if I get this wrong. You're playing in you're playing fantasy football, but the lowest scoring team for the week is eliminated for the year. You're done. You no longer have. It's like knockout, a knockout pool where you're picking the winner team wise. This is knockout, but if you're the lowest scoring team for the week, your season is over. Is that correct?
And not only is that correct, but all of your players go into free agency, and all the remaining teams get to bid on your players. They absolutely vulture over the carcass of your fantasy team. And so your players live on and start as you move forward, but your team as you know it, into dust. Forever.
That is psychotic. That is straight up psychopants. So if for example, you're in a 12-man league, you're done by week 13, whatever it is, like, and then what happens? It's over. That's it. Middle of the season.
It's over.
Wow.
It's the last team standing.
Wow. That's insane, dude.
Yeah, and the whole point is just survive until you're down to maybe like the last 4 or 5 teams, and then you just hope that your team's good enough to score enough points to be the best each week.
Flex spot, Henderson or Kincaid?
It's Kincaid as long as he's healthy. He showed up to practice on Thursday wearing a red non-contact jersey. I haven't seen an update yet on Friday. But if he's active, you're starting him. He's been too good.
Quentin Johnson or it says McConkey. I'm going to go ahead and assume that's Lad McConkey.
Well, I mean, you never know if Biff McConkey is who he's talking about.
That's a Hall of Fame name.
Yeah. Hall of Fame long snapper Biff McConkey.
So great.
The only long snapper in the Hall of Fame.
The only one.
His bust is in a cabinet in the break room. So I still think Quentin Johnson is the best receiver for the Chargers, but I actually think all 3 of the Chargers receivers are in play this week, especially if it's PPR. I have no confidence in the Chargers run game, A, because they're down to Kamani Vidal and Hassan Haskins, and B, the offensive line is really not in great shape, and it honestly hasn't been in great shape for like the last 2 weeks. Now they're going to play without their second tackle and their third tackle. It just feels like a big mess. I would expect Justin Herbert to get the ball out quickly, and I would expect him to take advantage of the matchup against a very bad Miami secondary.
Speaking of that Chargers backfield, of those 2 you mentioned, is there one that stands out that for those?
Vidal is the one that I've picked up a lot of.
Okay.
I haven't spent a lot of fab to do it. Didn't do it with my first waiver claim. Probably will not start him. It's a week to discover and see what they do, because we know we've got 3 more weeks without Omarion Hampton at least. So if one of these 2 guys, or maybe it's Naheem Hines, who ends up having a decent role in that backfield, you're just hoping that one of those guys ends up being a potential starter for you, probably by week 8. You know, talking about bye weeks, we mentioned it earlier when we talked about Jackson Dart. In week 8, Dave, there are 6 teams on bye.
Jeez.
And if you've got a bunch of players that have a bye in week 8, and you can see it on your fantasy lineup page, you should start trying to make plans now, if you haven't already, to replace those guys so you can at least have a decent lineup when you get to week 8.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad. See, it's not just the listeners. It's all of us that benefit. I'm looking at week 8 right now. Jared Goff.
You got like 4 guys that are on bye in week 8, right?
Goff, Montgomery, Nakua, Williams. Now, and Kyler Murray. I have 5. That's cool.
Yeah. So the first guy I would look for is Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, those types of quarterbacks, if they're out there. That's the type of quarterback I would try to get to just hold on to and see how they play this week before making a determination on week 8. Trevor Lawrence actually doesn't make the cut. He's on bye in week 8, so forget his name.
Nice.
Stroud, Bryce Young, maybe Tua. Those are three quarterbacks that are out there in a decent amount of leagues. You might be able to find them, stash them for a couple of weeks.
Last one here, Diggs, Dowdle, or Marvin Harrison. Nice flex, by the way, for their flex.
Yeah, nice job.
Geez.
Dowdle is who I would go with of the three, and Diggs I have ranked higher than Marvin Harrison. And I'm not sure if Kyler Murray plays for the Cardinals this week. He hasn't practiced yet. Could be Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Jacoby Brissett has a track record over his career of leaning on tight ends. It's something like a 30% career target rate to tight ends. That's really good for Trey McBride. Not so good for Marvin Harrison.
Where can people get this wonderful knowledge in an extended form from you today and this weekend?
You can go to anywhere where you get your podcasts from and search for Fantasy Football Today, and you can download and follow the podcast, and then you've got it in your ears. But you can also watch us on YouTube every single day. We are on there. We do 2-part start-sit episodes. We just finished the first one before I came on the air with you, Dave. And you can watch it for free, like and subscribe by going to youtube.com and search for Fantasy Football Today.
That's the interview. I like the way the interview ended more than I like the way it started. Dave Richard.
Me too. What a nice way to end a wholesome spot.
Yeah.
I always love talking to you. Yeah. By the way, my son went to Tallahassee for the game.
Oh.
And his big takeaway was, Dad, I can't believe how loud it wasn't when Seminole fans did their chant.
Well, it seemed loud in the beginning. My daughter, as I've told you, is in the USC marching band, and they showed the whole open with the chop and the band and all that. And I said, this is what a real band looks like. And it was great in the beginning, fireworks, all that. But you know, when you're down,
he said it wasn't that loud.
Wow.
And,
well,
I don't think he was trying to throw shade. He just said that they didn't seem optimistic or enthusiastic. It's almost like they knew what was coming.
Can I say that I literally said 30 seconds ago, what a nice way to end the interview, the way it started, and you agreed. And then you actually threw in more shots at the end of the interview than you did in the beginning.
Would you say that this interview ended poorly?
I would say this interview ended like Cam Skattebo crashing into the defensive line. Like, there's injuries. My head hurts. I don't know if I want to go on. I have 2.5 more hours of show to do.
Should you go on? I say no.
Have a good weekend, David. Yeah. Love you. Bye. Thank you. Dave Richard, CBS Sports. Terrible, terrible fantasy football advice, but I guess tune in. We'll take a break. When we come back, 3 for Madness.